Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as we do some garden cleanup. So let's go. It is mid-December here in New Hampshire, Zone 5B, and it is a wonderful warm day. It's in the mid-40s, and tomorrow is supposed to be in the mid-50s, if you can believe it. We still don't have snow on the ground. In fact, the ground is not frozen. I'm going to take full advantage of that and do some garden cleanup today, and I wanted to bring you along while I did some of this. So let's start with the first flower bed, and I'll walk you through my process of what I do to clean up my flower beds. So let's go. We're on the south side of my house, and I call this the old arbor vitae bed for the simple reason that there used to be 3 arbor vitae in this bed, and they were not looking very good, so we did pull them out a year ago, and I converted it into just a small flower garden. And there's irrigation in here, and we have a whole bunch of ajuga in the center. Anyway, what I thought we would do today is just clean out the leaves. The ajuga definitely collected a ton of leaves in here, and I figured it's a great time to just clean up this bed and pull out the leaves. So I was checking this bed, and it is slightly frozen, and I'm okay with that because my cleanup for today does not involve any sort of planting or weeding. So let's get started with cleaning out the leaves first. I like to use a small hand rake like this. I just feel like I have a lot more control, and also I don't want to pull up the ajuga out of the bed, so I just want to kind of be a little careful while I'm pulling the leaves out of this bed. And the reality is a few more leaves might end up coming in here during the winter months, and that's okay. I just want it to look clean, and I want most of the leaves out of here at this point. I didn't want to tackle this project a month ago because the leaves were still falling, the leaves were still blowing around, and now is a great time to be pulling the leaves out of this bed. And when it comes to the leaves, I do collect all the leaves, and I like to shred them up. And then I like to return them back to my beds. So step 1 is getting rid of the leaves out of the bed. Step 2 is shredding them up. And then taking the shredded up leaves and returning them back, not necessarily in the center here, but on the outer part of the bed where the soil is. And the reason I like to do that is the leaves are really good. They break down over time. They feed the microbiology that's in the soil. And it's just a good soil amendment. The shredded up leaves also protect the soil. They suppress the weeds. And if you have a very heavy clay-like soil, they help, when they break down, they help amend the soil and loosen up the soil. There are so many benefits for the leaves. But the big thing is, it's better to have shredded leaves, in my opinion, than it is to have bigger leaves. The shredded leaves will break down a lot faster. And you can see, just look how beautiful this ajuga is. While I'm working on beds, I kind of feel like I'm giving you a mini garden tour. And for being in New Hampshire in the middle of winter, this is just such a beautiful sight this time of year. It gives a little bit of interest in this flower bed. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and keep cleaning out all the leaves in this bed, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. Here on this corner part of the south side of my house is where I have my compost bins. You can see I have one over here, and then I have a larger bin over here. And they're full of leaves from this past fall, as well as waste material from my gardens, vegetable material from scraps from my house, and grass clippings. But under this big black tarp over here is compost that is already made and ready to be used. So I'm going to take you in for a closer look so you can see just how awesome this homemade compost looks like. So it's definitely a little frozen, but I can work my way through. And I mean, you can see just how nice it looks. It is nice and dark and rich and fully broken down at this point. I really could have put this down even earlier in the season, but I just didn't get around to it. And then I figured, okay, I guess I'm going to wait until springtime. But because the weather's just been so nice, I'm able to tackle at least a little bit of this pile and get it spread on my beds. But like literally right here, there's a patch of ice. So I'm very happy that I'm able to work the compost like I am right now. And I've made videos showing you how you can make your own homemade compost very easily. So what I can do is down in the description, I'll put some links to some of those videos. So I will finish filling up my wheelbarrow, and then I'm going to show you how I top dress my bed with the compost. So what I'm going to do is put down a nice layer of the compost right here, but then I'm going to rake that layer this way. And as we get towards the walkway or the concrete over here, the height of the soil is actually pretty high. So it doesn't really need a lot of compost added on this side. So I'm going to start over here with the compost, rake it this way. So it's going to be a thinner layer down over here. After I've done that, I'm going to add a layer of shredded leaves to the top of it. And it's supposed to rain very heavily tomorrow, and that will mat down the leaves so they don't blow everywhere. So there's my nice compost layer, and I'm just going to add it down this way. And as I'm doing this, if I notice any larger pieces of, let's say, rocks or sticks, I will pull them out at that time. Like here's a rock right there. I'll pull it out. Here's a stick. I'll pull that out. And this is just really nice soil compost that I'm adding here. And now the whole reason why I'm putting back leaves, even though we just collected a whole bunch of leaves, is I mentioned earlier that when you shred them up, it acts as a mulch and it protects this soil, this wonderful soil that we just added. And it's going to break down and it's just going to make this an even fluffier blend. Lots of great reasons to do this. And I collected all these during the fall. I shredded them up and then I stored them in a dry place in my garage, or actually in my barn. And that's where they've been. And to be honest with you, I really wanted to use them up before the winter. So I'm glad I'm able to do this. And you'll notice that they are a pretty light color. They don't look like the normal mulch that you're used to seeing when you look at a flower bed. I did the same thing last year to my rose garden. And what I noticed was after the winter was done and spring started, all of these leaves were no longer a light color. They had turned more of a dark color and they looked actually really pretty on the flower bed. I'm just pushing them down just to make sure they don't fly away today because it is a little windy. But that's it. All I did was add the compost, added a nice layer of mulch, which is our shredded leaves. And I'm just going to keep on going around the rest of this bed. And after I'm all done, I will show you the center of the bed where I removed all the leaves, plus all around the bed where you will see all the shredded leaves with the compost underneath it. All the compost has been put down as well as the shredded leaves. I am really happy we got this project done. This is what I call putting a flower bed to rest for the winter. And this bed can officially rest now. I'm very happy about that. I hope you are able to get out in your gardens. It looks like the weather has been pretty nice across the board around the US and possibly internationally. So if you can get out even on a nice day for a few hours, I say do it. Until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.